Hey, BubbaTac here, and this is going to be my video testing Hornady's Critical Defense double-aught 12 gauge 2 3/4 8 pellet buckshot with the Versatite wad. So just real quick about this specific round, I had been putting off doing this one in a series of buckshot testing videos that I've been doing. I've kind of started at, say, the lower end, the more affordable end. Trying the Suprema buckshot, the Spartan buckshot you can get at Academy, and stuff from like Rio buckshot. And went sort of lower middle range, the Winchester Super X and the Remington, Express stuff, and had even tried some of the Federal non-flight control wad type variety buckshot, and it kind of been putting this off for a couple different reasons. One is this is sort of more of a premium type buckshot, and the price goes right along with it. In my area you can get these 10 round boxes for say between $13 and $14. Now it is nice that they come with 10 shot shells over the usual 5 that you get, but it's still about if you were to break that down to a 5 round box, 5 rounds a piece, it's about $3 to $4 more than that real cheap stuff, and $2 to $3 more than some of the stuff that I usually shoot, like the Remington Express. So it is more of a little bit more expensive, but that's not really the main thing. The main thing is I've been putting off doing buckshot that has either the Versatite wad or the flight control wad, these special wads that keep it real tight. I've just been kind of doing your bread and butter type buckshot that's out there. So I've been kind of doing rounds that use these types of wads off, as well as the fact that I've been doing just 9 pellet type buckshot. And Hornady Critical Defense and Hornady in general, they like to use 8 pellets. They stack them 2 on 2 instead of 3 on 3 like most everybody else. They do that because they say that it keeps the disruption of the pack of pellets going down the barrel to a minimum, because you have that one less buckshot ball bouncing around in there. And there is some truth to that, especially back in the day. But with these new Versatite wads and flight control wads and the new baffling that everybody uses and stuff, material and the composition of buckshot, that's becoming less of an issue. So I really don't know how much how I feel about that. I'll see after the testing, but that is one less ball that you have going down range. And when you're talking about 80% in a certain area of the target for effectiveness at whatever range you're shooting at, 80%. When you're talking 9 pellet, that's 7 pellets that should be in. When you're talking 8, it's like 6.5, so it's still nearly 7, but you're doing it with one less ball. So I really don't know how I feel about that right now. We'll just have to see how the testing goes. Other than that, I have been looking forward, however, even though I've been putting it off, I had been looking forward to doing this round, because I actually have a couple friends that just, this is their go-to, and this is what they preach about, this is the one that they like, and I've been wanting to try it out. First range I'm doing is from 10 yards, using the Hornady Critical Defense 2 3/4 double-aught buckshot, and I will be using it in a Remington 870 Police Magnum, same gun I've been using in all these tests. So here we go. The next range will be from 15 yards. The next range will be from 25 yards. Okay, so that is the third target from 25 yards. As you can see there, it's printing a bit low. I felt like many of the shots I've taken were right on, but are printing a little bit low, and they seem to be consistently doing that. I'll just chalk it up to me for now, and maybe my hold with the shotgun, but I really hadn't had that problem in the past with other buckshot that I've shot and tested, but this one seems to be printing a bit low. But all that aside, it seems to be printing nice and tight like you'd like it to. That Versatite wad really seems to be doing its job. we'll talk more about that when I'm inside and can lay the targets out and talk about them individually. But for now, looking pretty good. So just wanted to wish all you a Merry Christmas, seeing how it is December 25th, and we're out here on the family farm by the creek, and just kind of showing you the natural beauty around here in southwest Missouri. Got a nice little light dusting of snow. It's about 27 degrees, not a lot of wind though, and if you got a heavy coat on, you barely feel it. Just a pretty day out here. So Merry Christmas to all you out there. Okay, back inside where it's nice and toasty now, and we're going to start out with the 10-yard targets with this Hornady Critical Defense. So as you can see from target 1, 2, and 3, we have wad strikes on all 3 of them. And as you can see from all 3 targets that all 8 pellets are accounted for inside of the 6-inch circle, which is important. Sometimes you don't always have that happen. Sometimes they get stuck in the bottom of the shot cup. They don't actually come out and do a full spread. In this case, we didn't have that issue. So it's good to see that all 8 did come out of the shot cup, this VersaTight wad, and did a nice spread on the target. And they are real tight. They're looking good. Just to talk about them here for a minute, my favorite one is target 2. At the max spread, it's 3 inches top to bottom. And then the main bulk of the actual strike on the target is about 1.5 inches top to bottom. That's really nice. When you're talking about target 3 down here, we're having a max spread of maybe 3 1/4, maybe a little less on the top to bottom, but the bulk of the actual shot is right here in 2 inches top to bottom. So that is really nice on that one too. And then here on target 1, you have something similar, where from top to bottom it's about it's almost 4 inches, maybe 3 3/4 top to bottom. Side to side, just over 2 inches, but here, right here in the bulk of where the shot was, it is right at 2 inches, maybe just over. But when they're this tight, you know, this 1.5 inch to 2 inch groupings of the main bulk of the pellets, at this range at 10 yards, that's going to be good for you going down range. So I'm real happy to see these. Real quick, I just want to talk about the comparison between a standard shot cupped type buckshot and something like this VersaTight wad, or like a flight control from Federal. And to that end, I want to talk about another target that I have here from a previous video. This is the Federal non-flight control variety buckshot. And as you can see there in that 6-inch circle, it is spread across it, almost from end to end, top to bottom as well. And at its maximum point, it is 5 inches across, and top to bottom, 3 3/4. The bulk of the actual shot is right here in the middle, and it is at about 3 inches, maybe a little less. So as you can see, at 10 yards, using this, there was a great deal more spread. That's still a pretty good target from Federal. It's good to see that all the pellets actually came out of the shot cup, but still, that is for comparison to show you how tight these groups are with this VersaTight wad from Hornady. Here's another one. This is from Remington. This is my personal ammo that I like to have in my shotguns. And as you can see here, it's a little bit tighter than the Federal was. And they're all accounted for in that 6-inch circle. So from end to end, it's about 3.5 inches, and that's the same from top to bottom. And then the bulk of the actual shot is right here in about 2.5 inches by about 3 inches. So it's still pretty good and tight, a little bit tighter than that Federal as far as its disbursement inside that 6-inch circle. But if you compare those 2 targets to how much tighter this one is here on target 2 using the Hornady Critical Defense, you can really see this is a recovered VersaTight wad that I actually got off the ground. I think these were from 15 yards. I was able to recover one that was actually in pretty good shape and not distorted from hitting the actual plywood target. So you get those nice tight groups at those ranges using these VersaTight wads. So the way this works is this actually seals, feathers out here and seals better against the barrel as it's going down. And then as it actually, it keeps the shot from knocking around into each other. They're nice and packed in there. And then when it actually comes out of the barrel, these little wings come out and actually retard its forward movement, and that actually separates it from the pellets themselves, and they're actually able to come out and actually strike the target. Your biggest distractor from that is shot banging into each other and shot deformation. If you can keep that from happening, you're going to go far towards getting real nice groups at further ranges with this buckshot. And this actual Versatite wad from them actually helps you accomplish that. So that's kind of how that works, and it's kind of proof in the pudding right here in front of you, and in comparison to these targets at 10 yards. Next we'll talk about the 15-yard target. Okay, so real quick, hopefully, we'll talk about these targets here at 15 yards. As you can see here, this is, as I talked about out there at the range, it was starting to shoot a little low. We'll just go ahead and put that on me for now, and the sights on my shotgun. So because of that, I actually superimposed the circle down from the black 6-inch circle at the range to this 6-inch circle in blue right here on target 1 and 2 that shot a little low. Target 3, I didn't feel I needed to do that. I felt it was fine. So anyways, when you are talking about these targets here, 1 and 2 and 3, they're looking pretty good. Here on target 2, you have 7 of the 8 pellets actually inside the 6-inch circle that was superimposed down. You have the same thing going on with 1, and you have all but 2, so 6 accounted for in target 3, and they're looking pretty good. I mean, they really are. You see this dispersion right here. Go ahead and give you a measurement on that. This is something I've started doing. I figure guys would actually like to know what the actual exact measurements are. So we got just under 5 inches top to bottom, and from side to side we're looking at 3 inches there on target 1. On target 2, we're looking at a max spread over here. I actually won't talk about that one. I'll go max spread right here that's actually inside the 6-inch circle. We're looking at just over 3 inches, and top to bottom is about 6 inches. So that's pretty good. If you talk about the specific tightest point of the groups, however, it's probably right about here, and that's 2 inches by just over 2 inches. That's looking like a real nice group right there, and I kind of like how it's squared off right there. If you're talking about these right here, there are 4 right here or 3 down here. On that one, we're talking about like right at 2 inches, 2 inches squared. That's a pretty good group for 4 pellets of buckshot at 15 yards. When you're talking about target 3 down here, in comparison to target 1 and 2, it kind of dispersed on you. Its maximum is right at about 5.5, 6 inches. And if you were to take that one out, right at 5 to 6 inches. So, it covered that 6-inch circle. It really did. But still, it's a good dispersion at 15 yards, and you're seeing some nice consistency between target 1 and target 2. Okay, we're going to start talking about 25-yard targets with target 1 here. And as I said at the range, it was shooting a bit low. Put that on me in the sights for right now, unless I can find out different. Probably going to be doing some more testing with this going down the line to see how it does, as well as other special wads such as Federal Flight Control and this Versatite wad here from Hornady, to get an idea how this actually continues to perform with accuracy. But for the meantime, I was just going to go ahead and do a superimposed red circle down here where the actual bulk of the shot is, to give you an idea of where from the center how it would perform when you're talking about a 6-inch circle here. The box itself is actually a 12-inch square top to bottom. So when you're talking about this target 1 here, what you see here is you actually have 5 shots inside the 6-inch circle and 1 that is almost touching for a total of 6. And then you have 7 and 8 out here. So its maximum spread from here to here is about 9 inches, and from top to bottom is just over 4. But when you're talking about this 25-yard target here, this is performing well. Even with some of my favorite brands like Remington Express, I'm usually only averaging around 3 actual pellet strikes on a centered target at 25 yards. So to have 5 in and almost a 6th one there touching the 6-inch circle, and basically if you were to move this square down as well, all actual 8 pellets are within inside the 12-inch square. So that is for sure 80% effective, almost close to 100% effective there at 25 yards. So this is looking pretty good using this Versatite wad. We'll go ahead and talk about target 2. Target 2 was centered, so it didn't need to actually have a superimposed circle, so we'll go ahead and talk about it as is. All 8 pellets are either in or touching, close to touching the 12-inch circle. I'm sorry, the 12-inch square, and then we actually have 1 in and 1 touching, and 2 that are pretty close in the periphery to the 6-inch circle. This is a bit more top to bottom spread than target 1 was. Target 1 and target 3 are very similar to each other. Target 2 similarly to the 15-yard targets in comparison between target 1 and then target 3. There were some slight differences in the amount of spread, but you saw the consistency between target 1 and 2, and you see the consistency at 25 yards between target 1 and 3. But you still see the consistency here in target 2, and you're still close to 100% of the shot at or right near, within or right near the 12-inch square. So it's still looking pretty good, even with a little bit more spread than you see in target 1 and 3. So we have target 3 here, like I was talking about, and you can see a great deal of similarities between target 3 and target 1. I did another superimposed circle down here in blue below the actual number 3 target circle that I had actually done at the range. So what we have here is we have 5 shots, 5 pellets, just like with target 1, in target 3 inside our superimposed circle right here, and they are nicely grouped. We'll talk about that in a second. We have target 6, 7, and 8 out here on the periphery, but you still, if you were to bring this square down, with the exception of the 8th pellet here, you actually have a pretty good effective square, 12-inch square going on, and very similar to the target 1 here at 25 yards. So the group I wanted to talk about was these 5 pellets right here. You have 2 touching and these 3 right here. Their max spread on this little group right here of 5 pellets is just over 2.5 inches, so right around 2 3/4, and then top to bottom about 2.5 inches. So that's a really nice group. That's really effective. This going further than 25 yards, you know, what, 30, 35, maybe 40, it's looking pretty good. With the main tightness, you know, tightest point of the group being that tight as it is at 25 yards when you see this target 3 and you see that target 1, and you're seeing some nice consistency in that too. So this was my buckshot testing video of the Hornady Critical Defense double-aught buckshot using the Versatite wad. Thanks for watching.